Circle Urban Ministries is a community development nonprofit organization working toward the day people in underserved communities have a safe and healthy place to live, learn and play. Circle provides a 360-degree approach to community development. Here's how. 1. Circle identifies deteriorating and underutilized community assets. 2. Then, Circle partners with other organizations to rehabilitate identified community assets. 3. Circle generates consistent revenue by renting the rehabilitated asset to nonprofit community partner agencies who provide immediate community service. 4. Lastly, Circle reinvests the revenue into community programming. Using this business model, Circle is able to provide high-quality, after-school programming for more than 150 youth and teens. A food pantry that serves more than 400 people per month. A crisis intervention program that serves more than 150 people per month. According to census data, the Austin community is home to 97,600 residents. Through various partnerships, Circle's campus serves more than 9,600 individuals a year. That's nearly 10% of all Austin residents. Circle's partners include Catalyst Circle Rock Charter School, which serves 520 scholars each year. Rock Church with more than 100 members. PCC Wellness, who serves more than 7,000 patients each year. And many more. To learn more about Circle Urban Ministries, or to become a partner, call James Borishay, Circle CO, at 708-406-5544.
Circle Urban Ministries is a faith-based organization, and our mission is focused on the youth and families of Chicago's Austin neighborhood.
Our vision is to really empower and equip our young people so that they feel confident and aware of their abilities and talents and how they can use them to ultimately impact other people.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's James Borishay, CEO of Circle Urban Ministries, and do we have a virtual chapel for you today? We're going to be talking about Peter versus Judas. Who do you release? Who do you restore? Who has a bad day? Who's having a bad day versus who has a bad heart? This is a Bible study slash virtual chapel that I pray blesses your soul. So let's get started. The scripture that we're going to be coming from is John 13, starting with verse 21. So let's go. It says, when Jesus had thus said, he was troubled in his spirit and testified and said, verily, verily, I say unto you that one of you shall betray. Then the disciples looked one to another, doubting of whom he spake. Now, there was leaning on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples, whom Jesus loved. Simon Peter therefore beckoned to him that he would ask who it should be of whom he spake. He then, lying on Jesus' breast, said unto him, Lord, who is it? And Jesus answered, he it is to whom I shall give a sign. When I have dipped it. And when he had dipped the sop, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. And after the sop, Satan entered into him. Then said Jesus unto him, that thou doest, do quickly. So you've heard the saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I used to think, why in the world would I want to keep an enemy near me? Until I read this story and saw how Jesus handled enemies. Let's take a closer look at Judas for a second. So Judas is the person he was one of the 12 chosen disciples. In other words, he traveled all over the place with Jesus. And not only did he travel with Jesus, he was the person who handled the bag. In other words, he was the treasurer. He collected the money, he handled the money. And now when it came time for those who were against Jesus, who wanted to identify him so that they can take him, so that they can crucify him, persecute him, kill him, for lack of a better word, when it came time for that to happen, they couldn't determine out of the crowd who Jesus was. Isn't that crazy? They had decided that they didn't like someone who they never actually met, based upon what they had heard about him from other people, based upon the types of things they had heard he was doing. They didn't see him, they didn't actually meet him, they didn't actually know him, but they decided, we don't like him and we need to do something about it. See, listen, in this year 2021, a whole lot of people are going to regret writing you off based upon something someone else said, or based upon something someone else told them. But that's not even the purpose of this virtual chapel. So watch. Now you got Judas, who is the treasurer, who is traveling with Jesus, who decides, you know what? I'll help you discover who he is. So when I walk up to the person I walk up to, and I lay a little kiss on, that's the Son of God. That's the person y'all want to. That's the person you want to get. That's the person you want to take. So now Judas had decided he was going to betray Jesus, and he did it for money. He did it for personal gain. But that's very, very different from what Peter did. Now, Peter had decided, I'm going to be with you till the end. Through thick and thin, Lord, I'm willing to die for you. But when it came time to actually die for Jesus, or he thought he was going to die for Jesus, he realized he couldn't go that far. His fear would not allow him to go that far. So Peter was the one who set boundaries or limitations on how far the friendship went. That is very different than someone who decides to outright betray you, or someone who is in your midst who is outright working against you. So the difference between Judas and Peter, one was working against Jesus, he thought, and the other one was working with Jesus, but decided, this is as far as I'm willing to go. See, you're going to have people, you're going to have friends, you're going to have family. You'll probably be one of the people in someone else's life who says, listen, I love you, but this is as far as I'm prepared to go with you. Those are the kinds of people that you restore. Those are the kinds of people where it's okay to have limitations and boundaries. In fact, Peter decided, listen, I can't die for you. And so what Jesus said, okay, no problem. You're not going to die for me. Well, let me give you the tools to live for me. And so if you look at how many books of the Bible and how many stories are written about Peter and how much Peter did in the gospel after this situation, you'll see that Peter had decided, I'll live for you, but he struggled in that moment to actually give his life for Jesus Christ. That's someone you restore. You're going to have people in your life who walk with you, but are only designed to walk with you a certain part, to a certain distance. They're not. Have you ever had a wilderness moment and you realize everybody you thought would be there for you sort of backed away? Some things you're designed to go through alone. There are some moments in your life that God won't allow people to go that far with you. And though that's okay, that's a Peter situation. But a Judas situation is something very different. See, Judas worked directly against the Lord, he thought. But he was designed to work directly against the Lord. And I asked myself, why in the world, out of all the 12 people you could choose, why would you put someone who you knew would betray you so close to you? And the answer I got startled me, and it changed the way I perceived enemies. See, you've heard the saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Now watch this. God said, I am going to prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. In other words, the thing that's going to cause you to eat, the thing that's going to give you sustenance, the thing that's going to feed you, I'm going to prepare it, but I'm going to do it in the presence of the people who are working against you. So when you get people who are working against you, when you get haters, as we call them nowadays, it's 2021, when you get haters, that's the time to rejoice, because he is literally, you can't have the table prepared until there is the presence of enemies. See, I'm going to prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. So when enemies come, know that the table that is being prepared is shortly thereafter. Here's another thing he said. He said, I will make your enemies your footstool. In other words, I'm going to make an enemy so close to you that you can step on that enemy and go up. Now, I used to think that the footstool was something that you rested on, but actually the footstool is something you step on that gets you to a place that you couldn't reach if the footstool did not exist. In other words, an enemy is someone who God intentionally sends, designed to propel you or raise you forward to a level or an action or an item or a thing that you could not reach on your own. So, but that enemy has to be close enough for you to use the enemy as leverage. I love what Jay-Z said in one of his songs, I think it was Hove. He said, I'm going to show you how to move in a room full of vultures. See, in 2021, in order for God to restore everything you lost, you have got to be able to move in a room full of people or in the presence of people who are trying to work against you. That is just how business is. I remember before I came to Circle Urban Ministries, I was running an organization called ACCT. It was the Association for Challenge Course Technologies. It was the association that basically the zipline industry was birthed from. And I watched people who were competitors, who the outside world thought were enemies. I watched those people work together for the common good to both make money so that they can feed their families. I watched enemies, I watched competitors come together for the common good. But you got to know how to protect yourself. You got to know how to work in a room full of people who might not have your best interests at heart. That's not uncommon. It's life. And so when Jesus worked with Judas, he knew that in order for the carpenter, Jesus the carpenter, to die, he had to be betrayed by Judas so that the Christ in the carpenter could be fully manifested on this earth. See, you have an inner Christ inside of you. Remember, he said, greater is he that is in you than he that is of the world. So you have an inner Christ in you, that in order for the inner Christ in you to come out, in order for the inner Christ in you to be manifested all over this world, in order for the inner Christ in you to be manifested in your domain, in the thing God called you to do, there has to be a Judas, because the carpenter in you has to die for the Christ in you to be released. Amen. I hope this quick Bible study, virtual chapel blessed your soul. I can't wait till we meet again next Tuesday. God bless. I'm James Borshay, Circle Urban Ministries. Love you. Take care.